Hello, and thank you for joining us for the third and final session of the 2024 Acunet Back Pocket webinar series. I am Jeffrey Morin, the Acumatica Implementation Project Manager here at Acunet, and I'm here with my coworker, Becky.
Hi, I'm Becky Kukas. I'm the Director of the ERP Business Solutions here at Acunet.
And we are happy to be joined by Marty Rhodes, President of SingleSource.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Jeffrey and Becky, for allowing SingleSource to be part of your Back Pocket webinar series.
Thank you for joining us today to showcase your fantastic product.
It's my pleasure.
But before we go any further, Becky, do you want to share a little bit about Acunet?
Sure. Okay. So a little bit about Acunet. Acunet, we really have been around for over 30 years. We have two divisions to our company. And the ERP division is been implementing SL and since 1989, and now Acumatica since 2012. So Acunet is one of the first partners of Acumatica, and we have had customers all over the US, and some of our customers even have international divisions. Our IT services division offers full service managed services plans for your technology needs. The major difference is their customer base is in the Columbus, Ohio area. So basically what we do, Acunet solves problems for our customers by increasing their return on investment with process improvements. Most of our team, we're customers and users of the products we support, so it just comes natural for us to be customer service driven. Okay, Jeff, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, thanks, Becky. And now Marty Rhodes will introduce us to SingleSource.
Hi, again. Today I'm here to talk about the productivity tools for Acumatica that SingleSource has developed. The productivity tools have two modules, the Agreement Designer and the Questionnaire Designer. Both are very helpful tools that bring a high value to organizations that is using Acumatica. This year, SingleSource celebrated its 39th anniversary, and we've been an Acumatica partner and ISV since 2020. Given our 39-year history, our focus for the past 30 years has really been on the service industry. This experience led to the development of the productivity tools. When partnering with Acumatica, we recognized some basic functionality that was lacking within the standard product. And although the productivity tools were manifested from our service industry experience, I'd like the audience to keep in mind that these are horizontal applications that can be used in any organization with any addition of Acumatica, be it construction, manufacturing, distribution, retail, or professional services.
Thanks, Marty. So let's get started with the scripted part of our presentation as a way to make this a more interactive demo and not just a how-to session. Becky will be playing the part of Luann, the Chief Operating Officer, and I will be playing the part of Bill, the IT Director of Consult U, an IT tech company that uses the professional services edition of Acumatica. Scene 1.
Bill, we have an issue. We need to address it pretty quickly. Our auditors are here for pre-audit work, and the main request every year is to look at our contracts for each of the agreements we have with our clients.
I know auditors review these contracts to validate price, dates, and the agreement. I know.
I don't think you know. Every year we scramble to secure these, and every year we come back to you, and your IT department is asking for a solution that we can either create them from the Acumatica ERP system or something else, just something.
I do understand. That is why I have arranged a meeting with SingleSource tomorrow. If you would just look at your calendar, Luann, they have a certified application built inside of Acumatica that I think can assist us with this matter.
Good. And
yes, and the other item on your list was to assist our HR department with a tool to help with our new employee onboarding process.
Oh, yes, and that.
Now come to the meeting. SingleSource has an offering for that as well.
Well, see you there, and thanks, Bill.
Scene 2. Good morning, Marty. I'm here with Luann, our Chief Operations Officer, and let me give you a rundown again of the company and our current needs. Consult U is an IT consulting firm, and we need help generating the contract and agreements we have with our customers and to gain easy access to these documents.
Yeah, and we're going to soon be global.
Yes, big plans for expansion in 2025, and every year we seem to run into the same situation with our auditors.
Yeah, they require like contract information that details the agreements we have with our distributors and what we either do not have them or we cannot locate them. Frankly, it's quite a nightmare for accounting and administration.
And for IT, we are running Acumatica, and our bar, Acunet, let us know you can share with us the offerings of single source.
I'd be happy to. Our productivity tools for Acumatica have two modules, the Agreement Designer and the Questionnaire Designer. Here are a few benefits of the value the productivity tools can bring to organizations that are using Acumatica. Companies today need to find ways to trim budgets and boost productivity. Employees need to be ultra efficient with their time. And companies want tools they know will bring high value at low risk, meaning they're looking for a high return on investment. And our customer tell us both of these modules have a meaningful impact on their workforce efficiency.
Nice. I want to see these designers. Who is the product designed for? Does everyone in the company need it?
Well, let's take one at a time so you can better understand the features and benefits. Let's start with the Agreement Designer. The Agreement Designer helps companies create transactional documents, proposals, agreements, and contracts quickly and with greater confidence in the consistency and accuracy of these documents. And any company that uses Acumatica will benefit from the Agreement Designer if they create a steady volume of documents like sales, service, or project quotes and agreements. Maybe in your case, your statements of work with your clients. Maybe companies need vendor or supplier agreements that they have with their manufacturers or distributors. And the Agreement Designer supports over a dozen different types of documents beyond these that I just described.
Wow, that is exactly what we do. It certainly seems like there is a wide application. Please tell me how it works. How can we save time if we use Agreement Designer to generate a sales proposal, for example?
Well, let's start with the end in mind. Here we have an example of an agreement template that's built with the designer. The Agreement Designer lets you embed legal or contractual text with data that's automatically pulled from select Acumatica document fields. You start by building a collection of these templates, like you see the one on the screen, and then you put these templates into use. Templates are built by assembling pre-written blocks of text, which is stored in a library that you can pick and choose from when you are defining a new agreement. Each paragraph you see with a title on the screen here is actually a predefined reusable section. So we have an introduction section, a scope of work section, maybe some details. All of these are predefined and reside in the section library. The agreement administrator can then create this content and embed the data once and then save it for reuse in convenient templates. The sections that you see on the screen are then assembled into a template. And after you draft an agreement template, you can have it approved by management, and then you're able to apply it on individual transactional documents without needing to send it back for additional approvals. This saves a lot of time and increases throughput.
I see it's a build an agreement from existing approved library of predefined text.
Hmm. This looks like I won't have to start from scratch every time I create an agreement to send to a prospect. Is that right?
Exactly. And as I mentioned earlier, there are numerous Acumatica document types that utilize the agreement designer. Here's a list of the currently supported document types in Acumatica.
Very convenient.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's right. And even though it is template-based, a person can change the language in a document once the template has been applied to make the final draft unique for an individual transaction. In this example, you'll notice that the text has been highlighted on the screen here as a visual indicator that it needs to be customized for that particular transaction.
So basically, anything that needs legal, official, technical, or detailed language and needs to embed data from Acumatica can be turned into time-saving templates.
Yeah, can you show us a quick demo and create like something on the spot?
Sure. Let's take a statement of work, for example. It might be created by a services delivery manager. The person, it might be responsible for defining the services, describing the scope of the project, indicating the order in which tasks need to be done, the amount of time that might be involved, and how success or completion will be defined for the work to be performed. So let's see how a statement of work might be generated using the tool. Here's the standard interface that we have, and as you indicated, the product is built in the Acumatica tool set. It's installed and becomes a menu option in the standard Acumatica interface. I'll start by explaining some of the agreement sections that we talked about. So what you're looking at here is a small sample of a library of agreement sections, and each section is predefined. I'm going to go into, let's take an introduction for a service order, for example. And in this section, we've got the section ID, which is a unique identifier. We have a little bit of change management. So you can draft a section, have it reviewed and approved, and then released for it to be available for use in a template. You then have the actual title that's going to be displayed in this description field, and then the body of the content itself. This is what it will be displayed in the section when it's embedded into a template. Here we have a list of templates, example templates. And again, we're going to focus on a statement of work for your organization. As you'll notice, these templates are associated with particular or are valid for specific document types within Acumatica. So given that list that I showed earlier, you can have a different template for each different document type or multiple templates for document types based on the particular use that's needed for a transaction. Once you click on a link, it will open up the template itself, or you can create a template from scratch. This case, what we're looking at is a template that's already been built. But if you wanted to create a new template, you simply click the plus sign, and that will put you into the add mode within Acumatica. You're going to give it a template ID, and here's where you specify the document type. So this particular agreement template is going to be valid for document types of service order. And this is, again, a list of the different document types that we can associate a different agreement with. And again, we're going to be focused on a service order that defines a statement of work. Again, here's the change management status. This is the description of the template or the title of the template. And then you'll notice the file name. And we're using a variable substitution, which is standard functionality within Acumatica. So when the agreement is rendered, and I'm going to show you that once we move through the demonstration here. But the file name that gets created for this agreement is going to have a constant label called SOW. And then we see some dynamic substitution here. So it also is going to reflect in the file name the service order type the service order number, and maybe the revision number. So you have the ability to dynamically allocate or reference what you want the file name to be of each individual agreement. One other thing I'll bring to your attention is when the agreement is actually rendered, it can be rendered either into PDF format or Microsoft Word format. What you're looking at here is a collection of the sections that we've already embedded or assembled into the template. So we've got the ability to sequence these in particular order. The section type indicates whether it will display kind of on the front end of the agreement. We've got some detail information that gets displayed in the middle, and then after that detail information is displayed, anything marked as a footer comes after that detailed information. And again, I'll bring that to your attention here. But you'll notice that these are sections that came from the section library. And it's very, to add a section, if you're building a new agreement, you simply hit the plus sign. It's going to create a new row. You're going to indicate whether it's header, footer. You'll give it a sequence number. And then this will give you a pop-up list of all of those predefined sections that are in your section library, and you simply add one if needed. So I'm going to revert this. I'm not going to save that. I'm going to go back to my original document here. But I do want to bring to your attention here, this particular section called details has some standard language, but it also has a little call out here as a visual indicator that indicates that when we do put this template in place, we want the user to define what the work and the deliverables are going to be as part of the definition of this paragraph. And again, you're going to see that momentarily when I put this template into action. Okay. Each template has a header section for the top of the page or the top of the document. So this is both a document header or a page header that can be repeated, and the same thing for footer information. I mentioned earlier the detailed section. So what you're seeing here is the ability to embed data directly from Acumatica in table format. And again, you're going to see that in the layout that I show here momentarily. But again, you're seeing the variable substitution. So we're pulling the line type or the item type from, or will be pulling it from the specific service order. We're going to display the estimate hours and the unit of measure. And all of this, again, is standard Acumatica functionality that you're able to do variable substitution in our case, in the agreement itself. But this variable substitution, if you're familiar with building email notification templates, that's the same functionality that we're using in the agreement designer. As you're building your template, you're able to do a preview on it. So I'm just going to hit the preview button here. And again, if this was an actual contract, or excuse me, service order that we had associated, it would have substitute all of these variable with real data. And again, here we're rendering a PDF file. So as you're building your document, you have the ability to do a preview on it. So you can kind of do the kind of WYSIWYG. And again, here we have the document header information displayed here at the top. And then each of the sections that we included occur sequentially or in the sequence order that we specify. And it just drops in that predefined text, so you don't have to start from scratch. And then again, we've got a placeholder here. We're gonna override and put in some specific language once we put this into use. Here's that detailed table in the middle of the document, and then everything below that is going to be considered footer information. But again, these are all coming from our section library and dropping in predefined content. And you'll notice that you even have the ability to embed images. So we just have an image placeholder here. So it makes it very easy to render a new statement of work in your case, or any document for that matter. as you're working through the creation and deployment of an agreement. So I'm going to go back to my agreement template again here. All we're doing is building a template. Now we're going to put it into use. So I'm going to go over to a service order. So I'm on the service order form. We've got a service order here called quote 4822. And this is just a standard service order. It's going to be for some engineering services. We've got some consulting as the line item detail, a number of hours with a particular rate. And then you'll notice on our our tabs on our grid view here, I can associate an agreement with this document. And that's precisely what we're going to need to do. So we're going to go into the agreement tab. We're going to click add to create or add a new agreement for this service order. And we're going to pop up the list. And if you'll remember, one of the fields was valid for. So it's filtering down all of my available templates, and it's just showing me those that are valid for a service order. So we only have one in this case, so I'm going to select that, and it has dropped in my template. So this is going to be a unique contract or an agreement statement of work for service order number 4822. And now I'm able, as the person that's drafting this statement of work, to go into each section and I can either accept the language that's in place, and we can lock these sections so that people can't change them. But again, bringing to your attention this one section, we know that we want people to update this. So at this moment in time, we're going to say, define the work and the deliverables. And this is where you might type, this is where we define the actions and deliverables. And again, you have the same rich text editing capabilities that you do with Acumatica. So we're going to turn that red to black. We're going to save those changes. And now we have an agreement. We've accepted all of the other standard paragraphs or sections, and we've saved that. We do have revision control, so you have the ability to create a new revision if you do want to keep track of multiple versions. But again, let's do a preview on this, and now you're going to see that it's substituted into the variables. So we have that constant file name portion of statement of work, but it's now also substituted in the document name and then also the revision of that. So let's open that up, take a look at this, and you can see that we've substituted in the service order number, the account name. We've got the line level detail that came off of this particular service order. We're able to substitute in the total amount. And again, here's where I typed in, this is where we define the actions and deliverables. So in any of these sections could be overridden, but for the most part, the benefit is here, you're accepting the standard of section and language that's been approved by the organization. So again, you don't have to go through those additional approvals. So this might take you a few minutes rather than a couple of hours to draft. And this is why we say that it's high value and low risk. You get the convenience and accuracy of document templates for those important documents without the risk of storing different versions of Word or Google Docs outside of the system or manually attaching the document to a record in Acumatica. You avoid a lot of document storage hassles.
Well, that's definitely a win-win situation. And I can imagine already that Luann would ask about the logo that was showing up on that statement of work. We'd be able to substitute that with our Consult You logo, correct?
That's absolutely correct. So if you have your logo, your company logo added in Acumatica in the standard configuration company record, then yes, that would be inherited by any agreement that's created.
Right. And this is exactly what we do. So I can see great value with that. Don't you agree, Luann? See that you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, yes, I'm real excited. This is great.
And I
This is
love the
exactly
fact that
what we need.
it's so much the look and feel of Acumatica, and it's exactly what we're used to working on. So, and the email templates, it looks like it's something right from there. So, great job in constructing that. But I'm wondering if it's okay to take a look at another productivity tool, if that's okay by you. We mentioned was mentioned earlier. We have significant growth plans for 2025, including expanding globally, and we have really struggled with complying or compiling information for our new hires. We need to ensure that all of the employees on go through an onboarding tasks and make sure that they're completed. For example, like what certifications does each of our new hires hold? And we have an internal process for this, but with so many different departments involved in onboarding process, things seem to always get missed. So can you show us what you have available to help us out?
Absolutely. Let's see here. We have the questionnaire designer that is used to create documents that have a series of questions or a checklist, and the user wants to collect and save the results. Some examples of the use cases for the questionnaire designer are, as I mentioned, checklists. Checklist for sales discovery, as you mentioned, your employee onboarding, equipment repair, startup and shutdown procedures, receiving and shipping checklists, or it could also be used as for site surveys or punch lists, and it's often used in the field for field service for inspections and calibrations.
Wow. So you can call it like the questionnaire, punch list, checklist, inspection form designer?
Yeah, I guess so. Why didn't we think of that? But yes, it does all of that.
Now, like the last productivity tool we looked at, I'm assuming that the questionnaire designer is built in the Acumatica tool set. It integrates with these documents and types directly. I don't have to leave the ERP. Is that right?
That is correct. So let's say that you're onboarding that employee and you pull up the employee record while in Acumatica and you choose the employee onboarding template, which is what we're looking at here. It could be a checklist of steps and information to be covered during the onboarding that it presents itself. And this reminds the manager of the information to collect and what internal policies need to be explained to the employee. There could also be a separate questionnaire checklist that documents the different training curriculum and the training process, and that could also be attached to the employee record in addition to the standard steps that HR require for the onboarding. A questionnaire report can then be rendered into a PDF file, and the results of these checklists can be stored in Acumatica as data rather than a file itself. And another example might be, as I mentioned earlier, field-based inspection checklist that could be for either site or equipment specific.
So there's high value and low risk, and a lot off of my desk, and I love it.
That's right. The tool could be a huge time saver, and each time a list or a questionnaire is used, time is saved. And some of the features of the questionnaire designer are that you can not only capture the answers and the results using the desktop application, but you could also capture the results in the field on a mobile device. The questions can be grouped and sequenced for easy data collection and reporting, and a specific report layout is generated based on the results. But as I mentioned, since the results are stored as data and can be embedded in custom results used by the organization. But I think the real value comes from the ability to access that information after it's been collected. As I've mentioned a couple of times, the answers and the results are stored as data in Acumatica, not just in a file like an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, or some other document generated from a form tool. And since the data is stored in Acumatica, it can be searched on or aggregated into a report using a generic inquiry or any other Acumatica Acumatica compatible reporting tool.
Ooh, I know most of our Acumatica users would love to be able to report on the data that they collect.
Right. Can you show us how this works? I'm excited to see it in practice.
Absolutely. Let's take a look. So just like the agreement designer, the questionnaire designer starts with a template. So in this case, again, we're looking at a list of templates here. And again, just like the agreement designer, templates are associated with a document type. So we can have different templates for each different document type, or again, multiple templates for a particular document type. That you use within your organization. The one that we're going to be looking at is the employee onboarding template. So let's take a look at that employee onboarding template. I'm going to start here on the general tab and explain a couple of these fields. Again, it's going to, when we create a new template, we're going to tell it what document type it's valid for. Again, we have that variable dynamic substitution when creating the file name. And also, again, we're able to utilize the status field to manage our change management and the rollout of the checklist or a questionnaire that gets created. When we look at the steps tab, the steps actually indicate what the different I think I'm having I think I got a timeout situation here. So let me hit the reload button.
This process looks familiar. I think I've been here before.
Let's try it a different way. Not quite sure why we're hung up here. There we go. Okay. So the steps tab indicate the questions or the data that we want to collect.
Right.
So again, we've got some header information that will go on the document. In this case, we got a document header with company logo and a title. Again, we've got that variable substitution ability. We can also put a footer on the document that will be rendered or output. But what you're seeing here, again, is the list of questions. So each question will have a unique identifier. We can group the questions together. So we have a group column here. We've got looks like just two groups of questions we're going to ask, or two groups of content that we're going to be displaying. And then we have the question itself is going to be displayed in this description column. So we're going to have, who the new hire is, their hire date, the job title, the manager, and then the list of questions that we want to follow or the steps we want to follow. Maybe this is not a questionnaire. This is more of a onboarding checklist. So it just tells us the steps. And I guess there are a couple of questions that are embedded here. And then also, we're not going to use it in this case, but if you were collecting objective data, maybe some metrics, and you need in those metrics are numerical, are represented as numerical data. We have the ability to force the user to enter a value that is that falls between a minimum value and a maximum value. We can also use the pass and warning min-max ranges as a visual indicator, and I'll bring that to your attention when we render the actual output. We can break, do some page breaking and some header breaking here. We can skip values when we actually inherit or start using this particular template on a document type. So it may default in all of the questions, but you have the ability, again, like we did in the agreement designer, to override that for a specific transaction or particular, in this case, employee onboarding process. So again, as you're building your questionnaire, you can hit the preview button. It's going to generate a PDF file. We'll open that up and take a look at it. So this is the standard output. And again, we've got our header information up here, our new employee onboarding. And then these are just placeholders. Again, we're looking at the template. So these are just going to be the placeholders and the questions or checklist of steps that we're going to follow. And then when we do actually collect the data, it's going to be displayed in this second column over to the right. So now let's put this questionnaire into use. So again, this is for employee onboarding. It's associated with the employee form in Acumatica. So let's go over to the employee form. We're looking at Michael Andrews here. This is and again, all we're doing is adding another tab. So not only are the questionnaires supported on for employees, but also you could, if you have any type of employee agreements, you could put an employee agreement using the agreement designer, which we just talked about, associated with a particular employee. So, but let's look at the questionnaire. And I've already associated a questionnaire rather than adding a new one. I've gone ahead and I've set up a questionnaire. So we're going to click and go in. We're going to take a look at that particular questionnaire. Sorry, again. I think I got logged out and had to log back in. So we'll get back to the questionnaire tab here. We'll go in and we'll look at that questionnaire. And it's already associated the questionnaire with Michael, the employee. So let's go employee number 1 here. And this questionnaire is currently in open status. So we have the ability to put a questionnaire on hold, or once we answer all of the questions, it's going to go to complete status. We can cancel that. Again, helps with workflow. So you're able to use business activities within Acumatica to invoke some workflow process within the organization. So again, what you're looking at here is the same questionnaire, and when you're adding it, you have the ability to add additional questions just for Michael, or we can remove them. We can indicate that we want those values skipped when the entry form is presented. So what we're going to do, what I've done, I've actually already populated some of these values. So we're working through the onboarding process, and we've populated some of this data. I'll show you the entry form here in a moment. But let's take a preview of what I've already populated, just so you can get a sense. So I've populated the start date, the title, who the hiring manager is, the location of this new employee. Did we send them and did we receive a signed offer letter? Yes. Did the employee pass the background check? No, they failed. So here's where that visual indicator comes into play. So if this was a pass, if they passed, it would be green. I talked about the min and max values. So if it's in between the min and max, it's going to be a green value. If it's outside the min max thresholds, it's going to be a red value. I talked about the warnings. So if it's in the warning within the warning control points of min max, it's going to show up as yellow. So that's a great way, again, if you're using a checklist or a survey, if you're looking for specific values, you're able to invoke those visual indicators for the person that will be reviewing the output. So now let's go back, and I'll just quickly go into the form again itself. And we'll go into entry mode. So I'll go back to the steps just so you can kind of see. And then this is what the entry looks like. And this is the same user interface that a person would see if they're entering it on the desktop or if they're on a mobile device. Cool. So we're able to step through, and they're presented for each question. This is the onboarding checklist. Again, I pre-populated some of this data, but I'm just going to walk you through. Next, job title's already been populated, the person, the location, did we receive the offer letter? Some of the fields we might want to allow comments to be made. So there is an allow comment field out here. Sorry if I can get this loaded. So if we allow comments, not only are they expected to enter a value or a response, but they can also apply comments. And you're going to see here, here's where the failed. I did add a comment here that IT got the hardware request form. They prepared the laptop, but they did not issue it yet, and that may be because they failed their background check. And then we haven't set the person up in the payroll system or had their meeting yet. We haven't decided whether or not they need a credit card. Looks like it's forcing us. So you've noticed that we not only have a pull down list, we have radio buttons, and then we also have multi-line data types to populate. And then ultimately we're going to finish this. And once it hits the finished status, it will automatically close this out. So if we make it through all the questions, it'll move it to a complete status. Once we finalize that document, and I'm going to do a refresh here, and it's got all of our answers now. Once we finalize, as again, we've already done a preview. I'm going to preview it again. You can see that I answered that other question, no credit card. But now that we've got the finalized survey results, sorry, I keep popping out here. We actually can generate the document. And I didn't show this in the agreement designer. You know, we previewed the agreement designer, but both the agreement designer and the questionnaire designer, we ultimately generate a final version of the file. And it's going to generate that PDF file. And I'm going to close this form. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back to the employee record here. And when I've done the refresh, let me go back here. You'll notice that there's a file indicator. If we look at that, that's the onboarding checklist. So that record, that document will live with this employee record, or if it was an agreement, that agreement will live with whatever document type. So you talked about having a hard time being able to research the documents and if they're associated with your statements of work. You can always go now to the record within Acumatica, the document within Acumatica, and if there are associated agreements or there are associated questionnaires, surveys, or checklists, those documents will live forever with that particular record in Acumatica. So, what do you think?
Wow, I really like the ability to visualize the control points, you know?
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic tool. I love the look and feel, and I love the fact that you're retaining the information and being able to use it in multiple ways. We could also use the tool to create like a questionnaire for our clients to identify non-deliverable issues for our consulting gigs. So that's just fantastic. I can see the benefit in multiple parts for our business. Thanks for showing that.
Right.
Marty.
So checklists can be used in many areas of any company to enforce best practices and verification that all of the proper procedures were followed.
Right.
The use cases are endless. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the productivity tools can be applied to all industry editions of Acumatica. And just like the agreement designer, the questionnaire designer supports a number of different document types within Acumatica. And as we mentioned, we really think this is high value at a low cost. The productivity tool pricing is based on a company's Acumatica edition. So whether they're using Essential, Select, Prime, or Enterprise, and it provides for an unlimited number of users, templates, agreements, and questionnaires. It's offered on a 3-year subscription term, and it's available for both the 2023 and 2024 versions of Acumatica. More information can be found either through Acunet here or on the Acumatica marketplace. And we also offer a 30-day free trial version for you to download, install, and try before you buy.
Well, I'm sure there are many practical time-saving use cases that we can use from this. So what do you think, Luann? Are you ready to sign and get off my back?
I think I am. I'm just sorry we didn't find out this sooner.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that too, but great demo. Thanks, Marty. And scene. So good job. And I have a few follow-up questions for our viewers. How long does deployment and setup usually take? And what do you offer for support and training tools too?
Sure. Yeah, the setup and deployment and training are really just a few hours. You really saw the simplicity of the applications themselves,
Right.
and it's just a matter of getting some experience and learning the formatting and taking the time to build your templates. Once your templates are built, you can put them into action. And from a training perspective, we have both online documentation within the application using the wiki tool. So we use the same documentation standards as Acumatica, but we also have the online video training, self-paced training. So for the most part, there's not a whole lot of outside assistance that's required. Users can watch the videos, but if they are interested in needing more assistance, they can definitely contact Single Source. From a support standpoint, that's all included in the annual subscription. So if you have questions, if the product's not working as designed, or you're struggling with some type of feature, you can submit a ticket or call Single Source. Our support desk will be more than happy to help the users that adopt this tool for their organization.
Good. That sounds perfect, actually. And this has just really been a great demo. And I think it's just a fantastic tool. Like you said, it amplifies what you already have in Acumatica, and you say have the same look and feel that Acumatica has. So I can see a benefit to many of our clients to use this. So thanks so much, Marty, for your work here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Sure. And here is our contact information. I get this over here. So if you want a follow-up meeting or need any more information, want to see Acumatica or Single Source, feel free to reach out to us. Our email addresses are here. This is our website, and then here's the Single Source contact for your information as well. So Becky, I'll leave it for you to end the session here.
Yeah, just keep in mind, if you're interested in just a deeper dive into Acumatica in general, we can also assist you with that. We offer a free discovery session and demo of Acumatica. Please reach out to the email addresses on the slide if you're interested.
Yep. Thanks for your time, everyone.